Hi everyone, I'm astrologer Matthew Curry. I just wanted to take a few moments to, first of all, show off what I got for Christmas. I've had a device installed that pumps astrological knowledge directly into my brain. it's, it's kidding. It's a smoke detector. Uh, anyway, whoever you are, whenever you're seeing this, glad you could drop by. I'm going to be doing a few videos. I hope to do this as a Facebook Live video. But the funny thing is, I like to think that I'm fairly competent with technology until there's witnesses. And then, no, really, I'm really good with this sort of thing unless there's witnesses. And I can't figure out the Facebook Live thing right now. And I'd just rather get the message out than dither around with the technicalities. Anyway, as I was saying, this is going to be the first of maybe two or three videos between now and the end of the year when I want to talk about the big stuff happening in 2022, which is only like a week away now, which is weird. Um, Here's the story. You may have noticed that maybe, possibly for yourself personally, certainly for the world in general, and more than likely for someone near and dear to you, 2021 sucked. And the primary astrological reason for that was the Saturn Uranus square. Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, both very powerful placements in their own way because, first of all, Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius, which is very strong, and Uranus is in Taurus, which is opposite the sign of um, in which Uranus is exalted. In other words, 180 degrees away from doing its best work. So, if you're not heavily into the astrological terminology, let me give you a demonstration of what that's like. Oh, I'm Saturn and I want everything to be orderly.
I'm gonna do my own thing.
Oh, no, no, we're gonna impose some order on this mess, buddy.
Oh, no, you're not. I'm gonna screw everything up.
I went to college. Um, so that's basically kind of the process that the world has been dealing with throughout 2021. And you may know that the final exact peak of the Saturn Uranus square actually happened yesterday on Christmas Eve. And that's great, but it doesn't mean that it's over. It's a big, long, slow transit. It has a big, long, slow effect. And for a while yet, anyway, we're all going to have a problem, whether individually or collectively, getting our act together, cooperating with each other, cooperating with ourselves, understanding the systems that we live with, how to get them working again, or how to make them work better, or if it turns out they're a bad idea, getting rid of them altogether. It's been a messy year, hasn't it? Anyway, um, what I want to say here is that although that peak has already hit, we are not done with that story yet. I'm sorry. Um, the Saturn Uranus square will still, in fact, be in effect until, let's say, roughly February. And at that point, Saturn and Uranus drift far enough away from each other that it's not as big a deal as it was. And now, before you go and say, yay, too prematurely, I would point out that thanks to a Saturn retrograde, um, Saturn is pulling ahead of Uranus at this point, but thanks to a Saturn retrograde, in between about mid July and December of 2022, that square is going to be back. And the peak of that effect is in September and October. So even though there were three exact hits of that aspect in 2021, you might want to count there's a fourth hit in the second half of 2022. Now, this is not good news on the face of it. But on the other hand, think of it this way: it's kind of like when you have a really scary horror movie and it impacts enough people that they greenlight a sequel. I don't know if you ever saw The Fly, Cronenberg's Fly. Absolute classic, totally terrifying. I don't know if you saw The Fly 2. It was terrible. It was a piece of crap. Um, so, although, terrible analogy, um, even though the square is not done yet, and it may not even be fair to say we're totally done with it until 2023. Oh, I know what that sounds like, kids. Don't worry, though, there's plenty of hope. Um, the worst of it now, at least in part, will be behind us, and that's good news. Of course, the bad news being there's still plenty of leftovers. Um, Here's the good news, though. I think the really good news is that in a situation like this, when we've had an entire screwed up year with that one transit, it has given us, whether we have decided to take advantage of it or not, a chance to learn from it and a chance to listen. You may have noticed, though, that listening is not the strong suit of people on the internet anymore. Um, and there's a whole lot I could say about that. But yeah, I'm not going to continue the brawl today. Not here, not in this video, not on my watch. Merry Christmas, everyone. Um, but I do want to let you know that overall, and I'll be going into further detail in future videos over the course of the next week or so, that there's real hope, room for hope. And I am not just because I'm naturally tend towards optimism, kind of do, but there is lots of genuine hope for the year ahead that in some ways we will be able to get over our stupidity, both individually and collectively, and make our worlds and our lives a better place. And isn't that what you needed to hear right now? I know I didn't. I'm going to be telling myself a lot this over the next year. So in the meantime, you'll notice over in the description, there is a link to my PayPal donation page. You know, here's the thing, lots of you may want to get a reading. Can't afford it. I get that. Things are screwed up. But if you've appreciated my work over the years, feel free to drop by and drop a tip on me. And by the way, that PayPal link is in Canadian dollars. So for all my American friends, when you put in $1, it's really only about 78 cents. Such a bargain. And by the way, when you do that, feel free to send me your date, time, and place of birth, and I will gladly send you a year's worth of forecast by Kepler software. It's no substitute for a reading, but it's a lot more specific to your life than even the best of sun sign forecasts. And like I said, I'll toss it in with the donation, and maybe a couple of ebooks, because people like free stuff, don't they? Anyway, I hope this small word of encouragement will have done someone out there some good. And if it didn't, I will be back to help march us all through this next year. And, by that time, maybe I'll have learned to shave. Or maybe I won't. Come on, you might want to drop by again just to find out, ooh, did Matthew shave? How much did he shave? Probably not, though, because it's winter, I'm lazy. This thing's under a mask half the time anyway. So, anyway, it's been lovely talking to you. Let's do it again. That's a smoke detector. And I don't know if you come from a tradition where you tend to say, Merry Christmas at this time of year, or Happy Holidays, or Blessed Kwanzaa, or whatever. But you know what? Coming from me, I just want to say Merry Christmas and God bless us, everyone.